Okay, let's just jump right in. We hear about AI literally all the time, right? But here's the thing. How do we actually pass this knowledge down to the next generation without just completely burying them in technical jargon? I mean, for a lot of young learners, and let's be real, their parents too, the whole idea of diving into artificial intelligence feels heavy, super technical, and honestly, just a little unapproachable. But in this explainer, we're looking at a piece of source material that completely flips that traditional educational narrative on its head. Think about this for a second. What if learning about artificial intelligence could actually be simple, exciting, and inspiring? Well, that is the core premise of a book called RiSync, My AI Runway. It completely abandons this idea that AI is some giant, daunting mountain you have to climb. Instead, it treats it like a runway for curiosity. It absolutely validates that initial feeling of, being totally intimidated, and then immediately offers a completely different, highly accessible path forward. And the framing here is just brilliant. Right from page one, it hits you with this warning: this is not an ordinary book. It is my secret mission journal. I mean, if you're a young reader, that instantly turns education into an adventure, right? Instead of some dry textbook style slog, this 43-page beginner-friendly guide just hooks your curiosity right out of the gate. It makes a promise. You aren't just going to learn about algorithms, you are going to start tackling some much bigger questions.
Moving on to Section 1, The Unexpected Expert.
Yes, 11. You heard that right. To really grasp why this guide is so revolutionary, we have to look at the author behind it. Ritesh Singh is an entrepreneur, the founder of RiSync, and get this, he is astonishingly only 11 years old. When we think of AI experts, we're usually picturing, seasoned computer scientists with decades of experience out in Silicon Valley. But here we have a young innovator stepping right up to demystify emerging technologies for his peers, and honestly for the rest of us too. Now, if his age wasn't surprising enough, consider his actual output. RiSync, My AI Runway, isn't his first foray into writing. No, actually, it's his sixth published book. Sixth. That establishes some serious credibility right there. The kid is incredibly prolific, and he's clearly driven by this mission to inspire young readers to stay curious, believe in their own potential, and actually genuinely enjoy the journey of learning. In fact, his prolific output even prompted one anonymous reader over on BreeBooks to leave a review that simply said, "Guy himself seems AI." Which is it's a funny, lighthearted comment, but it perfectly hits the nail on the head regarding just how unbelievable this young author's achievements really are. It proves, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that innovation isn't tied to some specific demographic or needing a certain level of formal adult education.
Let's jump into Section 2, Mindset over Mechanics.
So Ritish isn't just writing about lines of code here. He is actively redefining how we learn about tech as a whole. This educational philosophy totally upends our usual expectations. The book intentionally dodges those tangled webs of complex programming and really heavy technical concepts. What does it do instead? It actively embraces everyday examples, thoughtful questions, engaging activities, and really pushes a growth mindset. So rather than forcing young learners to sit there and memorize syntax, it asks them to understand AI through the lens of their own daily lives. It is all about practical thinking over technical jargon.
And the foundation of this entire philosophy is beautifully simple. Age is never a barrier to innovation or learning. Now, that's not just some nice motivational slogan you'd see on a poster. It is literally the beating heart of the book. This mindset empowers everyone. We're talking students taking their very first steps, parents who are looking to introduce their kids to future-ready skills, and educators who just need an accessible way to spark that initial interest. It completely levels the playing field.
All right, let's look at Section 3, the 4-step AI framework. So how exactly does this mindset translate into actual on-the-ground learning? Well, it gives readers a super tangible, easy-to-grasp methodology that's built on a beautifully simple continuous loop. Think, ask, check, learn. You think about a problem, you ask a really meaningful question about it, you check the information or run a little experiment, and then you learn from the outcome. It's essentially the scientific method, right? But it's tailored specifically for the AI age, and it's designed to foster independent thought rather than just spoon-feeding students the answers. And when young minds actually practice this loop, they start to transform. They're invited to imagine and experiment so they can eventually become curious learners, independent thinkers, and confident problem solvers. The technology itself, that's really just the vehicle. Those 3 traits are the actual destination we're aiming for. This is exactly how you build a generation that isn't just sitting back and passively consuming technology, but one that is actively shaping it.
Which brings us to Section 4, the future of learning.
As we've seen throughout this explainer, this book is about so much more than just understanding how an algorithm works today. It is really about how we're going to function in the world of tomorrow. It empowers young learners to explore how AI is intersecting with massive real-world sectors, things like education, healthcare, business, communication, and ultimately the future of work itself. By connecting that simple four-step framework to these huge areas, it demonstrates that AI isn't just isolated to some computer lab. It is going to impact whatever passion or career a young learner eventually decides to pursue.
So, the ultimate takeaway of Ritish's work is really this: we absolutely must develop the mindset needed to thrive in a rapidly changing world. It's about learning to dream big, for sure. It's about asking meaningful questions. And perhaps most importantly, it's about thinking critically regarding how technology can be used to create positive change. It prepares the reader not just for the AI we have today, but for whatever comes next down the pipeline.
We have seen how an 11-year-old author completely shifted the focus from complex mechanics to everyday curiosity, and from technical barriers to truly limitless possibilities. As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to remember that innovation is the destination and learning is the journey. But that very first step, that is entirely up to you. Will you let curiosity become your runway?